What's up, YouTube? This is Felix, and today... Huh? Oh, this old thing? Don't worry about it. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Now, if you're watching this and you're from Generation X, first of all, love your music, big fan of Dancing with Myself, but also you've probably heard of a little show called Doogie Howser, MD. And if you're Gen Z, like myself, you've probably never heard of this show. I don't really care about millennials, so if you're a millennial watching this, you can probably turn it off. Be sure to tell your late epic bacon pupper doggo that I said hi. But the point being, there's quite a large generational knowledge gap when it comes to this show for some reason. For those of you who haven't heard of it, you're probably wondering, what is Doogie Howser, MD, or Doc House, as us fans of the show like to call it? Not to be confused with Dr. House. What is it all about? It follows a 16-year-old boy genius prodigy named Doogie Howser, or the Doog as us fans of the show like to call him, who has just graduated medical school and is now starting his new career as a doctor. So now he has to get used to his new job, he has to learn a good work-life balance, and probably hardest of all, he has to be a teenager. So you might be thinking, yeah, that sounds like a good premise and all, but like, why are you talking about it? What's so interesting about this show? Well, what I haven't told you yet is that Doogie Howser, or the old geezer, I was trying to combine the last syllable of his first and last name, but that one didn't really work out. Doogie Howser is played by a young Neil Patrick Harris. Now, when I was a 16-year-old, like 20 years ago, whatever, I saw this on Hulu, and I was like, is that a young Neil Patrick Harris? Because I'd watched How I Met Your Mother. I was like, I gotta check this out. So I watched the first episode, and I was like, that was crazy. So I told my friend about it. He watched the first episode, and he was like, that was crazy. And we found ourselves with no other logical choice except to make a podcast about it. So now with all that information, you're probably eager to see what this show is all about. Now, there are some episodes that are crazier or more entertaining than the pilot, and there's plenty that are less interesting. But the pilot is the one that hooked me, and so that's the one that I want to talk about today. So the episode starts, we got our cold open here. Doogie is taking his driver's test, just so that you know that he's 16. They see an ambulance up ahead, there's been some sort of accident. The tester, well, I don't know what you call him, the tester guy is like, all right, let's turn around, let's go another way. And Doogie ignores him and he drives up to the accident. And he gets out of the car and he starts giving medical attention to this guy. And everyone's like, well, what is this kid doing? But he knows what he's talking about, so he's giving orders to the police and everything. And his mom says,
that's my son, the doctor.
And now we get to hear this wonderful theme song. I'm sure whoever wrote this theme song didn't try to make it funny, but it does make me laugh every time I hear it. I've seen every episode of the show, by the way. During the theme song, we get some exposition about Doogie. We learn that he had a perfect SAT at age 6. He went through high school in 9 weeks. He graduated from Princeton at the age of 10, and he passed the medical board at 14. Now we're back to the episode. We immediately learn some things about Doogie's character. We see that he's got some beat up tennis shoes, just to make it obvious that he's a teenager. We see that he's good with kids. We see that he knows his stuff. He knows the textbooks really well, at least.
This kid is debilitated. His renal function's decreased. His creatinine is elevated.
And he's also having a little trouble with his colleagues.
And I do not need some 16-year-old snot-nosed genius telling me how to do my job.
There's this kid that has heart problems. One of the doctors is saying, we gotta replace his heart. He needs a new heart. And Doogie's saying,
he can't survive a transplant.
We just need to fix his current heart. But his boss, Dr. Canfield, agrees with the other doctor and they decide to go with the transplant surgery.
Does my call stand?
Yes, your call stands.
You're gonna kill him.
His boss also kind of calls Doogie out for being immature about the situation. But Doogie decides to prove him wrong.
Dr. Howser, you will behave.
Don't talk to me like you're my father. You're not.
That'll show him, Doog. Doogie goes back home and he's typing in his computer diary. And at the end of every episode, he types in some journal entry about whatever lesson he learned that day. We'll get to that at the end. But we see that it's his 16th birthday, and it's September 21st, 1989. And I know that the Earth, Wind, and Fire song came out in 1978, but I like to think that this is what they're referring to. Okay, no, this is where we get introduced to my favorite character, Vinny.
Ah! Gotcha! I got you good, Alder.
Jeez, Vinny, you almost gave me a heart attack.
Or Vincent Del Pino. This is Doogie's best friend. I love this guy. I would die for Vinny. He's basically like a middle-aged Italian man in a 16-year-old's body. And he's possibly also the horniest character I've ever seen.
Sex, Doogie. Tomorrow night, after the dance. Wampa wampa.
Like, even Zeus is like, okay, keep it in your pants, Vinny. Now, Doogie's telling Vinny that tomorrow night at the school dance, he's gonna have his first kiss with Wanda Clemens. Okay, now here's his plan.
I'm gonna do it during a slow dance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell her hair smells great.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna lean in and sniff her shampoo. Girls love getting sniffed.
Of course.
Then I give her a lick on her lobule auriculare.
You're gonna do it in public?
It's her earlobe, stupid.
Okay.
And if she doesn't pull back, then I know it's okay for me to give Wanda the big wet one.
The perfect plan. We also meet his dad. His dad's also a doctor. And his dad's not a huge fan of Vinny.
Or listening to his plan to part Wanda Plen's pulsating red lips with his probing pubescent tongue.
In fact, none of the adults in this show really like Vinny that much, especially Doogie's boss. And just in case you weren't convinced that Doogie was a nerd, he gets a calculator for his birthday.
It's exactly what I wanted.
Then he asks his dad if he can use his dad's car for the dance tomorrow, and his dad's like, no, you're not mature enough for that. But Doogie decides to prove him wrong by whining about it.
Disrespectful is treating someone like a jerky kid just because he happens to chronologically be 16 years
You're not excused from this table, young man.
You showed him, Doogie. And just in case you still haven't quite figured out that he's a 16-year-old doctor, we get this line.
I come in here, an emergency, expecting a qualified physician, and I get a 16-year-old kid.
Okay, now this next scene is actually insane. I don't know how they got away with this sort of stuff back then, but it's wild. So Doogie's attractive coworker, Nurse Spaulding, says, hey Doog, let's take a walk. And they go to this dark, empty room, and then she tries to seduce him. And at this point it's been drilled into the audience's head that he is 16. So she pulls down the pants of a literal child. Luckily it doesn't go any further than this, but what happens next is still pretty bad. Turns out this was all a setup for a surprise birthday thing. And all of his coworkers are also there, and now they're singing happy birthday to a child with his pants down. And then we cut to the next day, and Doogie's upset about it, and they're like, come on, it was just a joke. It's just a prank, bro. But Doogie gets them back by having Vinny jump scare them. Vinny has, like, free reign of the hospital for some reason. And then they never talk about it again. What? Like, that's actually crazy. Like, sexual harassment in the workplace to a child, and they're just like, it's just like a throwaway scene. Like, if that happened, if there was a show that came out today and that happened in the first episode, that would be like the premise of the show. Like, they would spend so much time on that. But they just kind of like, they just shrug it off. It's just a joke. That's what we do here at the hospital. Sometimes we save lives. Sometimes we sexually harass children. And that's just part of the job. Like, those coworkers should probably be fired. Possibly in jail. I don't even really know what else to say about that, but the episode keeps moving on. We go back to the other storyline with the kid with the heart problems. We find out that Doogie had cancer when he was 6 and almost died, and that's why he wanted to become a doctor, which it's honestly even more impressive that he got a perfect score on the SATs while he was actively battling cancer and on his deathbed at 6 years old. So, kudos to him. Enough of that sad crap. It's time for the dance.
Yo, Walk, you ready? Let's break out of here.
It's kind of cool that he, still gets to go to the high school dance even though he's long graduated. But when I asked him, it's honestly impressive that Doogie has, like, any social skills, considering, his whole childhood. I guess Vinny was keeping him grounded, We all need a Vinny in our lives. And now he's dancing with Wanda. It's time to put his plan in action. He smells her hair. He licks her ear. And that worked. Huh. This fit's kind of fire, actually. Think if I walk into a surgery room confidently enough to let me operate on someone. Dr. Felix. Okay, back to the video. And just in case you forgot that Doogie was a doctor, his pager goes off. He calls it the pants alarm.
What's that? My pants alarm.
Nice one, Doug. So he goes back to the hospital and he finds out that the kid has died before they could perform any surgery on him. This is Doogie's first patient to die, so he's taking it pretty hard. And he ponders on this under his Albert Einstein poster, just in case you forgot he was a nerd. Then his dad comes in and they have a nice heart-to-heart. His dad is also... Maybe I need to see a doctor. Sheesh. His dad is also a doctor, by the way. And his dad's like, this is what it takes to be a doctor. This is what you gotta learn to deal with.
As you get older, you learn to handle it.
I don't want to handle it.
If you're going to be a doctor, you'll have to.
Why can't I just be a normal kid?
Because you're not a normal kid. You're Doogie Howser, MD.
Where have I heard that name before? How come only doctors get to do that? Like, I have an associate's degree. I should start introducing myself. Felix Jacob, AA. Or, once I get my bachelor's, Felix Jacob, BS. Yeah, definitely doing it. Anyways, now we're at the end of the episode. It's time for Doogie to write in his computer diary. This is the entry. September 22nd, 1989. Kissed my first girl. Lost my first patient. Life will never be the same again. No mention of the workplace sexual harassment, but I guess the other stuff is more important, I guess. Some of his diary entries, aren't really that good. This one was fine. But, this is the one for episode 2. Today I made my first really adult decision. I decided to stay a kid a little while longer. Imagine his reading back on that 30 years later. He's gonna be like, what happened that week? That doesn't tell him anything about what he actually did. The entry for episode 3, he starts by saying that he went to go watch Batman, which sounds a lot like my journal, honestly. Half of what I write in there is just what movies I watched. You get the same information just looking at my letterbox. So there you have it. That was the first pilot episode. Well, the only pilot episode. That was the pilot episode of Doogie Howser, MD. Some wild stuff happening there for sure. Not every episode is exactly like that, but there are some interesting ones. They definitely really do hammer in the whole teenage doctor thing. They don't let you forget that for 1 minute. It would be interesting to see what he's up to now, just as a normal adult doctor. He's no longer a child prodigy. Neil Patrick Harris, if you're watching, and I know you are, get on that. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked what you saw, like and subscribe. This is not the big project that I hinted at in my last video. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I already have a trailer out for that. Yes, Dr. Felix, you are correct. There is a trailer on my channel right now. Go check it out. The first episode premieres April 17th, 1 week from when this video goes up. So it won't be on this YouTube channel. It'll be on the Sci-Fan YouTube channel. Links to all that in the description. So please watch that. Thank you for watching this video. I didn't feel like it was my best work, but I did spend $10 on that stethoscope, so I couldn't not post it. And now I gotta figure out what to do with this stupid thing. I just bought this just for this video. Things I do for this channel, man.